So on this episode of Your Wichita Falls, I'm going to be talking about Morningside. It's one of my most favorite neighborhoods here in Wichita Falls, and we're getting started right now, so stay tuned. Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Your Wichita Falls. I'm Debbie Dobbins, your host for this episode, and I'm going to talk to you today about our lovely neighborhood called Morningside Historic District. Now I want to tell you a little story. When I first moved to Wichita Falls, way back when in 1996, the first time around, I met a gentleman who used to be the Postmaster General of Wichita Falls before he started doing something else. I didn't know anything about Morningside. He shared with me that he lived in Morningside. He's like, okay, well, when you're new, you don't necessarily know much about anything. And what I came to learn is that Morningside is this little eclectic haven in Wichita Falls. When you go inside the neighborhood, you feel like you've actually left Wichita Falls. Almost you're not in Texas anymore. And what he shared with me way back then was it was a very desirable neighborhood, which it is. And the reason it's very desirable is not just because of all the beautiful houses, it's a little bit compact, is because no one ever wants to move and leave once they get there. And so what that does is it makes property values go up exponentially. And if you're ever lucky enough to find a house for sale in Wichita Falls, in Morningside, I can tell you, snap it up because they don't come along very often. So Morningside, as I said, over 20 years ago, I found that it was very hard to buy a home there because no one ever sells. And that does actually continue to this day. But let me tell you a little bit about the development of this 38 acres of absolute heaven on earth. It began in 1918. And when you drive into this secluded neighborhood, it feels like you're leaving the rest of the world behind you. You don't even feel like you're in Texas, as I said. Part of that is thanks to an oil attorney, Harry C. Weeks, and his brother Fred. Now these guys were some of the founders of our community, and I'd love for you to check out my video, The Historic Neighborhoods of Wichita Falls, and our video about the founders. But they were attorneys during the oil boom. And you might notice Weeks Park, there's a lot of things around our community that have the name Weeks in them. The Weeks Mansion is one of them. And during this oil boom, they built two of the most distinct homes in all of Wichita Falls, these Weeks brothers. And as I said, the Weeks Mansion was one of them, a 15,000 square foot marvel. So I invite you to watch my video on the Weeks Mansion. And today we're going to talk about the one that Harry built. It's a more modest home, but no less awe-inspiring in Morningside. He was one of the first homes to build in Morningside. And what he did was he built a home in the likeness of Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. So you can begin to see from this video the incredible homes that are in Morningside. It's just juicy and lovely. But here is the Monticello house, which is just such a beautiful replica. But the homes in Morningside, not just Monticello, they run the gamut of the likeness of that particular property to Frank Lloyd Wright inspired Palm Springs bungalows to Tudor homes and just the most gorgeous, gorgeous homes. And I did a little snippet of it in a previous video, but it happened to be winter at the time. And I was driving through there the other afternoon and I said, oh my gosh, I have to take a video because when it's spring and summer, it is just beyond how gorgeous it is driving through Morningside. As you drive through these windy streets, these large, deep set back lawns and yards, it's just, I can't even describe it. It reminds me a little bit of old Pasadena because I used to live in California, but there's a scenic pond there, as you can see in this video. and incredible seclusion. You just feel like you're not even part of the community. It's not gated. It's anyone can go drive in there. You can walk in there. You can take a little walk, living in Floral Heights, if you will. But it's an extremely sought after neighborhood. So if you'd like to know more about Morningside, or you'd like to find a home in Morningside, please click the link below to schedule a Zoom meeting. I'm here as always at your beck and call. I am your beck and call girl, as they said in Pretty Woman. And if you want to stay tuned, we have a couple of new videos coming up. And all I ask is that you just share this information with a friend or a relative from out of the community, because we love to get new people here in Wichita Falls. And as I always say, y'all come back now, you hear?